Good morning. Good morning. How we doing, owner operators? It's your guy Christian Martinez over at Super Trucker Podcast, Voyager Nation. So what we do once again is gather all our information and our experiences, and talk about them live here. So first time owner operators can actually learn from other individuals and what they're actually going through. So if you could tell by the title, what we're talking about today is carrier plates. I don't know. I think sometimes these bad boys get a bad rap, and I get it. For my seasoned individuals, it's probably it's a non-topic right here. But for a lot of guys who've never been through it, it's important to discuss it so they understand how the plate programs work, and so that they can make the best decisions for themselves, whether they're going to actually jump on them or not. So I do want to say our experience is this: we've been actually doing a lot of orientations this week, back to back, and we constantly see, it's come up a lot, especially lately in the last couple of months, where a lot of individuals think that the carrier plate now belongs to them. So there's a couple reasons we end up there. Number one, it's either a misrepresented by a recruiter, by the place you're onboarding, but that's not the only way to get to that misunderstanding. Number two is actually going to be exactly that: you misunderstood the program, right? And so at some point when you misunderstand it, obviously in anything that you pay for, you naturally would think now belongs to you, right? Any type of service you pay for, you have the tangible, you have the plate in your hand. You're not really understanding, just transfer it to me. I paid for it, and here we go. So this is how this program gets villainized. And then everybody thinks it's like some kind of shitty programs that are out there now to get to people. No, no, no. It's actually a tool. It's a pretty good tool as long as you know how to use it and you understand the parameters of it. So we're gonna get started on that and talk about when to use it, how it works, and so forth. So to kick it off, guys, all my first time owner operators who are about to purchase that truck, I got a lot of guys that I'm working with right now, and they're lining up all the back office paperwork and so forth. And that's why this piece is so important to that puzzle, so that it could complete it and you could get this bad boy, you can get this going right away. All right, so check this out. We actually had an individual who decided against the carrier plate. He just onboarded this week. I'm sure you guys, we got him on the gram out there, and just YouTube shorts and all that. He's got a nice green truck, so onboarded a few of those. But so my guy is in Texas, and he gets his own plate. So there you go. There's a guy from out of state getting his own plate because he found more value in that, and then that's okay. That the carrier plate is still there for whoever wants to take advantage of it, but everybody's a little bit different. Sometimes it's going to have value to you, and sometimes it is not. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Guys, first time owner operators, before you jump on the carrier plate, understand how it works. And that's what we're getting kickstarted today. So number one, no matter what you're doing out there, whenever you jump on a carrier plate, it is never going to be your plate. You cannot take it with you to go work somewhere else. It is their IRP account. So there is no way to transfer it to your name, even if they wanted to. So that is not going to happen. So just understand that even though you paid for it, it is a wrap. You cannot take it with you if you go. So understand that. Hey, good morning, client. How's everything today, brother man? It is Friday, so I'm hoping you're out there getting loaded, reloaded right now, or what's the plan? 9:20. So here we go, guys. So that's the number one rule you have to understand. So then somebody might say, then why in the world would this have value if I cannot take it with me, if I'm gonna, if I have to as an owner operator? Well, check this out. We got plenty of guys who have gotten started, right? And we're talking first time owner operators. There's two major scenarios why there would be a tremendous value to jumping onto this plate. All right. Number one, all right, you're just getting started. Let's just make up some numbers. You got about 8 grand. You spent about 5 on the down payment at the Lone Mountain people. They've got pretty good prices. So you do that, bada bing. You know that your monthly payment is going to be, uh, 1625 a month. So you're going to be winning on that. You got about 2,000 left in a bank. You're a little bit tapped out. That's kind of that danger zone, right? Because cash is king. Cash is king. So now either A, you go buy your own plate and you're going to deplete that cash resource, or you jump on that carrier plate, which is probably going to be pay as you go. So we got David here. Good morning. Long time no see. I've been busy, but here I am stopping by to say hi. Hey, what's up, David? How you doing, man? Hope everything is good. Klein, are, you got a great load. Here we go, brother, man. Keep it moving. Doing great, man. I love to see owner operators winning. Hey, that's the bottom line. All right, so getting back to that, right? So now you got this plate. You're tapped out on that funds. You don't want to give it up on the plate, right? In this particular situation, why the individual is going to think that this is a good idea is simply because if there's a breakdown, even though it's a new truck to him, yes, that's great, off the lot, past DOT inspection, everything looks good. As a matter of fact, they don't even sell recaps with those trailers. Everything is a virgin tire, man. But it's trucking and shit will happen. Trucking will happen. And so it's better to have those 2 G's in the bank because now you can do something with that, get yourself out of a roadside situation. Anything can happen with that truck. It might be a preventive maintenance issue. Anything can happen on that regard. And you're not depleting the last bit of your resources into that plate, especially if you have the mind frame of that you are not a job hopper. You're in it to win it. You're going to give this shit a year. You're committed to your process. You're determined. So, you got that business plan at a year mark. Then you go ahead and get your own plate, but you gave it that 1 year. And at that 1 year mark, you're going to do that as you gain your resources, right? Because day one, you're already starting your journey and you already have to make your money back, right? My man is 6 G's down. He has to recoup that money. He's coming in with a negative balance. And so his focal point is that, right? So throughout the year, you become stronger, end up on your own plate, and then it's gravy. All right, so that's number one, why a plate program might have value to an individual there. Number two, why a plate program has value for somebody else. We have long-time owner operators with us, right? They've been with us for a very, very, very long time, and they just use our plate because it's convenient. They never want to stand in line and deal with getting their own IRP. When they're home and they're relaxed. And, why do that? They're not going anywhere. So what's the difference? Either way, you pay. So it's not like anybody gives away free plates, right? That's that. And then also they don't want to deal with IRP audits, right? The way you report the miles is important. You can trigger yourself to have an audit. So they don't want to deal with any of that. It's all part of the package deal. As they're with us. So that's another tremendous value, adding a headache or a liability to the carrier, and so that they could better focus on what they're doing, which is, showing up on time, delivering on time, showing up on time, making that money and focusing on their actual, operation of their business rather than the back office stuff. Right. So those are two major scenarios of why these programs are pretty good, and that is a tool that you can use to improve your business and actually kind of leverage the ability for other people to manage some of those liabilities. So if I had to do it myself, I'd probably just leverage the carrier because of that IRP audit. But I get it. A lot of guys want to have their own, which is cool. We show you how to actually do that. So a lot of my first time owner operators, just like my guy who onboarded from Texas and got his own, we have to provide a little bit of paperwork. He got it done and he has his own plate. So there's also tremendous value to that. It just depends on what you're looking for, what you're looking to do, and how you're setting up your business, right? So all of that is part of it. But the reason I'm making this video, guys, is because time and time again, and just for whatever reason, recently, a guy shows up. We asked him, "Hey, you have your own plate?" "Yep, I do." "Okay, cool." Orientation comes. Boom, he slaps on a carrier plate. He slaps on the red, the cap card from that other company, and it's like, nah, man, but I paid for it. It's mine. It doesn't work that way. Even though you paid for it, yes, it is under their deal. It is under their account, and you cannot transfer that over, my people. So for anybody who's out there who's getting into that play program, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying it's the best program. It's the worst program. I'm not villainizing it. You have to use it when it fits in the scope of your business, right? So let's frame that a little bit. For some people, it will be useful. Cool. For some people, it will not. But the idea behind it is you understand how it works. By you understanding the rules and the dynamics of how this thing actually works, you can now make that better decision for yourself. So here we go. And that's why I say it. So I got a few people that are actually that I've seen, thinking like, shit, man, I thought this thing was paid for, and now it's a mental thing. Right now, it's a mental shock that they have to buy a new one that's going to be theirs. So don't fall into that. Know where you stand. Know how it works. And so that way you're never get into any trouble. So while we're on this topic, there's also an additional piece to this, right? In order to get a plate, you have to have a valid 2290. So there's a couple times you don't have to furnish it up front. You got a little grace period of 60 days, which is going to be, when you just bought the truck. So cool. But whenever you do a lease to purchase, my people, that's not going to be an option. So anyway, I digress about that, not to get into the semantics of that. Here's what happens. Carriers can offer you a 2290. Yes, they can pay it for you and deduct it from your settlement check. Now, here's a kicker. You have to make sure, right? It's always best that you buy it in your own name, because when you move on, you're not going to be able to use that 2290 that is not in your name on your truck. So you're not going to be able to get plated. It has to be in your name. So make sure that's getting done. If not, there's an easier way to do it. You go on the website yourself, fill in a couple of things, and bada bing, 15 minutes later, you're going to have your own 2290. I do understand. I do have some guys that do that with us. They've been in the game a long time, and they've been in the game with us a long time. So we're talking many, many years that we've been doing business together. So they kind of like, every year I just do it. Like, they don't even want to deal with it. But as a first time owner operator, you're not necessarily in that position, right? You don't have that longevity just yet. Everything is new to you. Maybe you went and did some reefer work and you're like, nah, man, I need to go to do drive in and call Voyager and link up with them. And so if you're going to do that, and now that 2290 is not in your name, boom, you got a little bit of a speed bump, right? You can get through it. But my plan here is for you to understand, you want to make sure when this thing has to be in your name so that you benefit. So we do have a question here by Melvin. Let's go ahead and address that, guys. So I'll read it out and then we'll cover that. So what happens to the carrier's plate the owner operator paid for? The owner operator moves on. Can the carrier repurpose it on the next truck? It just depends. I think it depends from state to state. I'm not sure how Florida works. If they could repurpose it, but for the most part, yeah, that can also be done. But also, does the carrier have somebody lined up? So, it's not like every week there's an orientation for some people. So there might be a carrier there with nobody needing a plate for a long time, and now something sits in a drawer. So it just, even though it can be repurposed, let's say, right? Um, you know, whether it's going to be yours or you still cannot take it with you. So yes, it could be sort of repurposed, because remember, it's under their IRP account, right? But again, you have to look at, my people, before you sign up, what are the guidelines whether to sign up or not, right? Because you might link up with a carrier, and regardless of it being can be repurposed or not, you sign for this certain thing here. So whatever you're signing up for, so let's say you're accountable for that for the year, right? Because people do it a little bit different. So for example, some people do it by expiration date, some people do it for the full year. So for example, at Voyager, if you signed up on today, 1/9, for a plate, your plate will be valid. You have one till January 9th of 2027, I guess, at this point, right? So you got that bad boy for a full solid year. Other people would make you renew at the renewal date. So then you're gonna have one till, let's say, they renew in March, and then you're paying for the plate again. Perhaps you maybe didn't pay the full price, but there you go. So everybody just does it a little bit different. And I guess the moral of my story is you're not able to take it with you, guys. So even that, like, if that doesn't sit well with a lot of people, that's what I say. Like, if you don't like that program, Easy. The easiest way to suffer less is to buy your own plate. But again, but you can still leverage that tool in order to put your business in a better position, right? The focus point isn't, you know, what they should or cannot do, right? Don't lose track of that, my people. The thing is, like, this thing is extended to you, an olive branch is extended to you, that if you really need it and you're that first time owner operator and you need to get on the road as quick as possible, then boom, you can always go ahead and use that. And then you use that plate and then you move on, right? And then once it's going to expire, your business plan is to have your own. Well, you line that up, right? Before that renewal date, start taking a look at it, because you need at least 30 days, man. Get your paperwork straight. You're going to need the miles. You're going to need a copy of the contract. You're going to need DOT. You're going to need the tax ID number of the carrier responsible for safety. You got to get your things in order. A lot of the things that you have to get in order, right, is your proof of address, your driver's license, all of those things, your S4, your SS4, which is, do you remember when you first opened your LLC or your whatever it is that you're doing, sole proprietor, uh, and they gave you, IRS gave you your tax ID number, that letter, you're going to have to show that letter. That whatever reason they want that physical letter now, and if you don't have it, you're going to have to go to IRS and go ahead and grab that. So I said all that to tell you, I've been in the position where guys had to use our play program because they couldn't satisfy the needs of getting their own IRP account, right? It could be as something as simplistic as the driver's license. They just never updated it to their new addresses that match, the water bill, the electric bill, and all of that. And or the bank account doesn't match, like whatever it is that they're furnishing as proof. Now to update certain things, they had to wait the 30 days for it to reflect. So, now it's not just the driver's license change, now if they had to update the information with the bank, they got to wait for that bill cycle to happen to physically get that statement in the bank to show that to the. So there are these little things that can go wrong. They're simplistic, but it could delay your process. So just know that, and a delay in your process of being out on the road. That's why I say give yourself some 30 days, link up with your safety team. I know we do that all the time. Guys who want to jump on their own play program, we show them exactly how to do it. We run through the application with them. Sometimes when they're with us, depending on when they bought that truck, the mileage that they're reporting, they may not even have ran it with us for that entire time. Let's say, you know what I mean? It just depends, on when they bought that truck. So pay attention to all of that, guys. It's important to your bottom line. So because I see it over and over and over again, I thought I'd just bring it up. Those plates are, they don't go with you. So just know the rules of the game. Every carrier is going to do it a little bit different. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to take that plate with you and go work somewhere else. So that is not going to happen. So because it's under their own IRP account, you're going to be able to open your IRP account if you wish, and if you do so. So that's always a possibility. It just depends on what you want to do. So give us a call, guys. First time owner operators. If I confused you more than gave you some clarity right now, 863-342-5171. And even for those guys who didn't even know it's an option, who didn't think that you can buy a truck and get your own IRP, and be careful who you talk to, man. Like I do run into this a lot, right? So a lot of guys go to the wrong location. There are, Florida, at least, there's only a selected few IRP locations, right? You're not going to walk into any kind of just tax office in Hillsborough or Polk County and get a plate. I have also seen guys do that. The person behind the counter completely disconnected, misunderstands what you're trying to do. And I have seen some of my guys get a Florida only tag, pay for that bad boy, thinking that they made a good move. And now they're like, oh shit, man, like I just wasted $600 for this, like eight, this thing's only valid for 6 months. So be careful with that. Sometimes they do point you in the right direction. Sometimes they don't. And if you go ahead and buy something that you shouldn't have, you're gonna be, you're gonna waste your money. Maybe you can get refunded. I've never seen it physically happen. I know there's a way, but I don't know. Good luck holding your breath on that one. So that's what that's about, guys. Understanding these plate programs, what's behind them, how they use them. They're actually pretty valuable for you guys. It's just a matter of you got to know how to use it. It's a tool for your business, how to be successful. Um, and again, everything we keep the emotion out of it. We're just talking shop. We're just talking parameters so that you know exactly how it works. So yes, you cannot take it with you. We understand that. Boom. Whether now that has value to you or not, it just depends on what your needs are, right? If some like my guy from Texas, he planned for it, so he had a budget for it, he had the money for it, so for him, he got it right off the rip, and then here you go. So here you go, guys. That's the importance behind it. I always say, it's a good thing to have your own. I always would think, no matter what, get your 2290 in your own name. Because the reason behind that is, no matter whether you're deciding to use your plate or carrier plate, you control that piece. It's yours no matter what. So there you go. So give us a call, 863-342-5171. And what we do right there is we talk you through the process on how to get it done, especially my first time owner operators. What does the dealer have to give you? What do you take to the IRP office? What do you furnish them? What has to get notarized? What doesn't? How do you fill that bad boy out? So again, it looks very complex. It's really not, as long as you have the right guidance. And that's what we're here for. 863-342-5171. All right. So always looking for some good owner operators. I got plenty of guys. This year's probably is kicking off pretty strong, man. There's a lot of guys picking up some trucks. For whatever reason, a lot of green trucks. So that's pretty good. So 2026, let's go. In picking up those trucks, man, they've been pretty quick, pretty swift. A lot of guys, we've been working with them. I want to say like early December. A lot of these guys have planned accordingly, so that's pretty different for us. But at the same time, there are a lot of guys who are picking up their trucks in this month or next month. So check locations out. Make sure you're checking out Lone Mountain. Pretty good pricing there. Look at the monthly payment, $16.25 a month. Pretty, very, very reasonable. All kinds of stuff there. But again, I've seen people pick up stuff from Aero, Select Trucks, Tampa. Just make sure you're checking out the mileage on that bad boy. Don't go too crazy on that 1.2 million miler. So be cautious with that. So here we go, guys. Just want to jump up real quick on this Friday, drop that information there so guys know. So if you knew, you knew, cool, not a problem. But if you didn't, now you do. And first time owner operators, if you have any questions, 863-342-5171. All right, Melvin, be good. David, be good. Klein, be good. We thank you for everything that you do, and we will talk to you guys shortly.